What's up, fellas? Time for Wake Up Mintzy, presented by the fine folks of Dude Wipe and Stella Blue. I'm in a freaking fiery mood this morning because we got one of my favorite guests of all time on. We got McNeese State head basketball coach Will Wade, the American gangster, always one of my favorite people to have on here, and has had quite the career to follow. We're going to go right to him. Tyler Moody, appreciate it. What's up, Coach? How are you this morning?
Doing good, Mintzy. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Excited to have you on. You know, like last year, your first year at McNeese, made the tournament, won the Southland. Seems like you're building on it in year two. 8-0 start in conference. Y'all are whooping some ass. How's it going?
Yeah, so far so good. We got a really tough conference road swing coming up here this weekend. So we'll see if we can keep it rolling. But we've done what we needed to do so far, and it's never easy to win in your league, whatever league you're in. So our guys have done a nice job so far, and hopefully we can keep it rolling like we did last season.
You've been in South Louisiana for a while, obviously LSU and now Lake Charles. It's snowing like crazy down there. I mean, is it like, what's it looking like in Lake Charles, Louisiana right now?
It's pretty crazy. I didn't go out yesterday, but I drove into work this morning. The roads were, we don't exactly have great icing equipment and salt trucks and that sort of stuff down here. So it's been wild. We had 8 inches at my house yesterday, and so it's been crazy. I saw some videos circulating of people on airboats on the snow. So that's how we do it in South Louisiana, I guess. But it's been wild. It's been different, and it shut everything down yesterday, and I think things will get a little bit more back to normal this afternoon. But it was 12 degrees this morning, so it's been cold and none of it's melted, but pretty cool. I mean, it's the first time my daughter's really seen a bunch of snow, so that part's been cool.
Awesome. So is school like, I feel like all of South Louisiana shut down. I mean, I know the basketball team's going to keep practicing because they're in the middle of the season, but it's so funny to me seeing how South Louisiana deals with stuff like this. Like, it's, they have no clue what they're doing.
No, this is something new. We're much more prepared for hurricanes and that sort of thing than we are a snowstorm. So there was a blizzard warning yesterday. I think they said it was the first time the National Weather Service in Lake Charles had ever issued a blizzard warning because of the wind and the snow coming across and the low visibility. So it was certainly interesting, but true South Louisiana fashion, the people adjust and just keep on moving. So it'll be back to normal by this afternoon, probably.
All right. Well, so last year, super successful year one at McNeese, made the tournament, obviously fell to Gonzaga first round. Seems like y'all are building on it. One thing I noticed this year, y'all beefed up the non-conference schedule. I know y'all have a couple of losses, but y'all lost by 3 at Mississippi State and by 6 at Alabama. How has that prepared y'all for conference?
Yeah, we needed to. We were shell shocked last year when we played Gonzaga. We hadn't seen anybody like them all season, and their height, their length was really shocking, surprising to us. So I felt like in the non-conference we needed to beef it up, and we certainly played Mississippi State, Alabama. We also played Santa Clara, who's really good. Santa Clara just beat Gonzaga at Gonzaga. We played them, and they were huge and presented some of the same issues that Gonzaga did. So felt like we were going to take a few more losses in the non-conference. We could have won a couple of the games that we lost, but we for the by and large it was good for us, and I think it set the stage for us to play a little bit better in conference play, and then hopefully if we're able to win the conference tournament.
I think Coach froze there for a second. Not really sure why, but McNeese off to a great start for sure. They're absolutely crushing. And 8-0 start, I can't wait to ask him about the Nate Oates stuff because I know him and Nate have had some few problems through the years. Coach, we got you? He froze. Okay, we'll get back to him. Get back to him here in a second. As always, lots of stuff going on at Barstool. Buy a dozen tickets in New Orleans, please. We got Tuesday, February 4th, coming up in New Orleans. The live show at the Fillmore in New Orleans. Dave Portnoy, Team ZD. You got the experts, Brandon Walker, PFT Fran, Will Compton. His last appearance at Barstool. Going to be there. Huge event. All right, we got Coach back. I think your link froze.
Yeah, my link froze, so sorry about that.
Nah, we always, if it didn't have technical difficulties, it wouldn't be this show. We're all just doing the best we can. All right, so anyway, had a good non-conference stretch. You mentioned Santa Clara, really good. You felt like that prepared y'all for Southland?
Yeah, I think it prepared us for Southland. I think it also has us better prepared if we're able to win our tournament and get the NCAA tournament. We're not just going to be shocked like we were last year. I mean, we were just we were frozen. You could tell in warm-ups just how much bigger and how much of a challenge the Gonzaga game was going to be. So I think we won't quite have that level of shock when we get there, if we can get there. So it'll be a little bit more familiar to us, which is good.
Okay. As far as differences between this team and last year, because y'all's guard play last year was amazing. Are y'all a little bigger up front this year? Because I remember that being the problem against Gonzaga. Their size was crazy.
Yes, Gonzaga's 3-man was bigger than our center. That's always a problem. But we've got a little bit better positional length. I think we're certainly a little bit bigger inside. We're not huge inside, because at this level, you go get a 7-footer. I mean, you can't play him for most of your games in league. Most of these teams in league have 6'7", 6'8" centers, and so having a 7-footer that may help you in a couple of tournament games. You may not get to the tournament because you can't win your league if you have that. So we do have we got a kid from Arizona State who's been very good for us, and so we went and added some size on the front line, but we also we need to get bigger at the guard spots. We added a 6'5", 6'6" point guard from Syracuse. We added some length on the wing. We ended Brandon Murray, who you're familiar with, who was with us at LSU and was at Ole Miss last year. So we added him, which just gives us some positional size on the wing, and so that's really what we focused on, because getting big kids down low, and it help us maybe 1 or 2 games a year. It's like having a 60-degree wedge in golf. You may use it once or twice around, but you'd much rather have your pitching wedge that you're going to use 8 times around. So we have to be careful with that as we build out our roster. But I feel like we do have a little bit better size, and we won't be as overwhelmed. We were able to play with Alabama. We were able to play with Mississippi State, Santa Clara. So hopefully we won't be as overwhelmed if we can get there.
Speaking of Alabama, I have to always ask about you and Nate Oates have always had a pretty funny rivalry. I know it seems like y'all are close personal friends. I knew y'all were going to show up and fight them. I just feel like those LSU Alabama games, y'all have always, I don't know, y'all are two of the funnier. He's a pretty hot tempered guy. I don't know. I always was entertained anytime y'all played, to say the least.
Yeah, I think we're two people that don't really care what people think, and we're not afraid to share our opinions. But he's a phenomenal coach. I mean, he's done an incredible job with that program. So we were actually, when I was at VCU and he was at Buffalo, we became close. And then obviously when I was at LSU and Alabama, we were recruiting the same territory and fighting for the same guys. So there was some tension there. But now that I'm not there anymore, and he was nice enough to play us. There weren't a whole lot of people that were going to give us a bunch of money to come play him, and so he was nice enough to play us. And we've talked multiple times, and I have a lot of respect for what he's done. He's built that program from the ground up, and really done an incredible job. Built one of the premier programs in the country, and probably the premier program in the SEC right now. And so he's done it his way, and he's got it rolling there. So they're going to be a force this year. I think they're one of the teams that can win it all, along with a couple other SEC teams.
Yeah, obviously you're focused on your in-conference stuff, but I'm sure you still follow SEC from your time at LSU. This is the deepest SEC basketball's ever been. I mean, it's crazy. This year, you got like 6 top 15 teams, and then you look at the coaching staffs, what Oates has done, and Bruce Pearl at Auburn, and Beard now at Ole Miss, and Rick Barnes at Tennessee, and Buzz at A&M. Just what do you think about the state of the league? It's like, I feel like it's gotten a lot tougher since in the last few years.
Ooh, it's a brutal neighborhood to live in these days. Todd Golden at Florida, they're running modern stuff and very, very very, very difficult. So, I mean, I think the league's going to get, probably 11, 12 teams in. They probably deserve maybe a few more than that, but it's just going to be so hard with everybody just beating everybody up in conference play. But you'll certainly see an 8-10 team get in, or two 8-10 teams. I don't know if you'll see a 7-11 team make it, but there'll probably be a 7-11 team that deserves to make it. But the SEC did a great job in their non-conference. They scheduled really well non-conference, and they won the games that they needed to win. And so I think there's bids there for them to have. The Big East didn't have nearly as good a non-conference as they've typically had. The Big East has been kind of 5 or 6 bids the last couple of years, and the Big East is probably looking at 3 bids, maybe 4. So there's a couple bids there. The Big 12 hasn't been as strong as they've been in the past, and so there's some bids there. So the SEC is going to be able to pick up some of these bids, and I think that 12 is probably a realistic number, and they could probably deserve maybe 13 or 14 to get in, but it's just the math doesn't work with all the conference games, playing 18 conference games and having to have a bunch of teams around 10 and around 9-9, 8-10, 10-8. The math's really hard. That's a thin needle to thread, but it's a tremendous conference, and they got great coaches, they got great players, and it's brutal this year, that's for sure.
All right, I got some off the wall questions for you, because you're one of the most fun things about following you is you tell it like it is, and you've got it's always entertaining. All right, do you follow the General Wade account, the General Wade Pokes account that always does the general? Have you seen this, the general stuff, the march to battle? And
I've got a great story about that. So I'm not on Twitter. So one of my former players, Reed Vial, who works with us,
okay.
He's my special assistant. He's the one who does all the Twitter stuff. But
okay.
I'm old school. Like, they print it off, or they show it to me, they screenshot it and text it to me, that sort of thing. So this is really cool, though. We thought for years, we had a manager for us at LSU, Tommy Kalous, who's now an attorney. Just incredible, witty kid, just witty man now. But he was from the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. He's from Gulfport, Biloxi, Mississippi. And we thought for years it was him. And last year, Reed runs my normal Twitter account, and he got a DM from the general account. And the guy wanted to come to the conference championship game. And so I got to meet the guy after the conference championship game. I was down on the court celebrating. He walked up to me and said, "I'm the general." And it was really cool. He lives in Lafayette.
Okay.
Really good guy. He said he made the account after our first year at LSU when we beat Texas A&M on the road, and I just kind of grew with it. But that was one of the most fun parts of winning the conferences. I got to meet the actual general. I got to meet the guy behind the account. But yeah, we thought for years it was our former manager, but it turned out it wasn't.
That's funny. Well, yeah, that account's hilarious. It's at General Wade Poke on Twitter. It's got over 7,000 followers. Just super, super funny account. I love it. It's like when you get ready to. It's kind of like a parody. They used to have the Andrew Luck one, but it's like marching them into battle and all kinds of funny stuff. I would ask, too, what's been impressive, the culture y'all have at McNeese, man. Y'all's fan support's awesome. I mean, it seems like the school's totally bought in, and obviously we're in the NIL world now, and you're going out in the transfer portal, but it seems like you're getting, fan and money support from down there in Lake Charles to win.
Yeah, man, everybody down here has been great. They're so excited. We went over to UL earlier this year. We had probably more fans there than UL. We traveled really, really well, and so I've been very, very, very thankful for the support that we've gotten from just the fan base. We sold out our home game last Saturday, and so everybody in town is really excited. Everybody loves following our team. We've got good kids who interact with folks in town, and so that part's been good as well. So yeah, it's been fun. We appreciate everybody's. We appreciate the support.
Does the 1 seed get to? I know y'all hosted the tournament last year. Is that how it works in Southland? If you get the 1 seed, you get to host the tournament. So that's obviously the goal of the regular season.
Well, no, we actually host the tournament no matter what. So we have the tournament here till 2029. Our athletic director was able to get the tournament, and we have it for till 2029. And the way it works in our league, which is really good, which is how most low major or mid major leagues should do it, is if you come in first or second, you get a double bye. So you get a bye into the semifinals. So you only have to play 2 games. If you come in third or fourth, you get a bye into the quarterfinals, and then 5 through 8 have to play in the first round. And so it gives it gives you incentive to try to come in first or second. It gives you incentive to make sure that your best teams have the best chance to get to the NCAA tournament. So it puts a lot of stock in all the regular season games. It puts a lot on the line in every regular season game because you're fighting for a bye, a double bye, and to give yourself the best opportunity to win in the tournament.
Do you prefer? I've always got curious this as a coach because you play the conference season's over 2 months, and then you're playing the one and done in the tournament. So I get you like the double bye, but would you prefer it to be the winner of the season or the winner of the conference tournament to get the NCAA bid? Because I feel like it makes the conference tournaments really wild, but it's like, damn. I mean, you put in 2 months, you're going on the road all the time. I feel like the overall body of work, I feel like, maybe the best teams would get in more if it was the conference regular season winners.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what makes March Madness is the tournaments, and anything can happen on a neutral floor. Anything can happen in those situations on any given day. Certainly the best barometer of who the best team is who performs well over the 2.5 months in conference play, right? I mean, who performs well over those those 8 or 9 weeks. The team that performs the best. I say this all the time to my team, but I believe this. There's nothing more difficult in all of sports than winning a conference game on the road. Doesn't matter what league you're in. Doesn't matter if it's the NFL. Doesn't matter if it's college. To win a conference game on the road is the hardest thing to do in athletics. And so, the teams that can prove that over the course of 2 months are certainly, really, really good teams, and teams that are at their, that are the best teams in their league. But that's what makes March Madness is having a fun tournament, and anything can happen. Upsets can happen. And so we just want to make sure that we're not the team that gets upset if possible.
I want to ask about, obviously, a new world with the NIL stuff. Seems like you have adapted really well to it. Y'all are going out in the transfer portal like crazy. Obviously, it's just a different world of basketball. Do you like it more now that it's like regulated, or did you prefer the old days?
Well, I can't comment on the old days. I don't know about the old days.
Yeah, fair enough. Water under the bridge.
Exactly right. There you go. But you're trying to bring back up old stuff. I'm done with that.
No, fair enough. I didn't mean to do that. All right.
No. I'm joking. I know.
Okay.
I know. Look, I mean, it's not really regulated right now, and so I think, look, this is just the open markets working, and I don't understand why everybody's all up in arms about it. This is just the free markets at work, and I think that if somebody at Kansas State sees an opportunity for their basketball program to be good and decides that somebody's worth this amount of money to go to Kansas State, then that's great. It's great for Kansas State. Somebody at BYU decides it's worth this amount to have the number 1 player in the country, then that's great. If somebody decides it's worth a certain amount for somebody to go to whatever school, I think that's great for the kids. I think it's great for the schools. I think it levels the playing field quite a bit. Everybody acts like, oh, the best teams are going to get the best players, but you still, I mean, look, to me, there's a couple factors. One, you've got to have the money. 2, then you've got to be able to have the relationships to get the right players with the money. And then 3, you've got to have the sense to be able to fit it all together. Just because you have money doesn't solve all the problems. I mean, we talked about Alabama earlier. Alabama's rosters, it's probably not in the top 3 or 4 in the SEC in terms of what they paid for it. But they evaluated well. They got parts and pieces that fit well together. And, he's done a great job with it. But you've still got to have other aspects besides just having a bunch of money. Now, don't get me wrong, having a bunch of money helps. That'll help, but it doesn't solve every problem. You still got to have the relationships to get to the right people, to get to the right kids, to spend that money on, or either that, or you're just going to have a bunch of money and spend it on players that are you're going to overpay for mediocre players, basically. So you've got to have a good plan, even though you have the most money. I mean, I think if you look right now at what most people consider some of the top spenders in the sport, like they're not performing as well probably as what they spent. So you've got to be able to spend it. You got to be able to spend it wisely.
Are you more of a like go get the talent and just figure it out with your scheme, or are you looking for guys that particularly fit your scheme? I'm always curious with coaches is
Well,
the striking
I
that
think it
balance.
depends. Yeah, I think it depends on what school you're at. I've always been at kind of rougher school. So my thing is you go get the players and then we'll figure it out when we get them here. And so, I understand, there's a couple positions that are more important for us. So in the NIL world, we'll pay a premium for two or three positions, and then the other two positions we'll go cheap on because they're not as important to what we're doing offensively or defensively. And so, we know where we want to spend our where we need to spend the premium money to get the best guys, and we know where we can cut corners and maybe go get somebody on the cheap a little bit more. So that's the way it works. And I think that everybody's got a different philosophy about it all, but as long as you execute whatever your philosophy is fully, then it gives yourself the best chance to be successful.
You've had one of the most fun paths I've ever seen as far as your coaching career because you got into it so young and you went from Tennessee, Chattanooga, and Lookout Mountain to VCU to LSU to now McNeese. I had a chance to go to VCU last year. Holy crap! That is like the Peppas, the band. They have like the best band I've ever seen. That was an awesome environment. What was it like coaching there?
Incredible. Ryan, the director of the Peppas, is an incredible guy. I still hear from him and text with him. Just an awesome dude. And look, they got it going. Ed, their McLaughlin, their AD, and it's a big time basketball school. They've got big time support. It's an incredible atmosphere. It's hard to beat them in there. Once you go in that Siegel Center, it is hard to beat them in there. And so it's a great job. It's a great place with great people. And really fun atmosphere on game day. The band, the fans, like everybody makes it a very, very unique atmosphere and a very, very fun atmosphere.
Yeah, I was impressed. That A-10's a fun basketball league too. I think maybe it's because like they don't have football, but like everybody's so bought. I mean, the atmospheres are crazy in that league. I was super impressed by it.
Yeah, the A-10's a really, really tough basketball league, and all the games are tough. All the teams are run and really, really good ball clubs, and so it's certainly a challenge when you're in that league. And George Mason's playing well again this year, and VCU picked up a big road win at Rhode Island last night. So it's going to be a battle in the league, and the league tournament's always a lot of fun as well.
Hell yeah! And then obviously I had all kinds of LSU fans mentioning just happy to see you. You still have so much. It's kind of interesting because obviously there's a lot of McNeese people that like LSU, and so that's been a fun crossover for you. But all I can say is I know they miss you in Baton Rouge. We'll just say that. Okay, I also want to ask, when you look around the country, you mentioned the SEC is really tough. Do you have any other like young coaches or teams that have impressed you kind of this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of parity across the country and across basketball, but I think there's some teams like that are starting to catch fire, like Illinois. I think they got off to a little bit of a slow start trying to figure things out, but I think they're really getting going. And there'll be some teams that emerge from nowhere. Look at NC State was left for dead last year, and then they make a run to the Final Four. And so there's a team lurking out there like that right now. I wish I knew who they were, but I don't. But there's teams like that are out there lurking. But like you look at, I was talking to somebody out west yesterday, and they were telling me UC San Diego. They've got a potential pro, and they're good enough to win a game in the tournament if they can beat Irvine and Santa Barbara and some of those guys in the conference tournament. But teams like UC San Diego, Lipscomb in Nashville is a really good team. out of the Atlantic Sun. There's a big tie atop the Atlantic Sun with them and Queens and some other folks. So I think there's a lot of teams out there lurking, and we'll see how it all shakes out. But I'll tell you another team to look out for is Bradley.
Okay.
They've won a ton in a row out of the Missouri Valley. Brian is a great coach. Their head coach. He's been doing it a long time. He won it as Wisconsin Green Bay before this, and so they've got a really, really good team. Now, you got to survive Arch Madness. Their conference tournament, which always has some upsets. Drake is really good in that league as well. They have some big wins early in the year with Ben McCollum. So it's going to be a wild end of the season and wild tournament as usual.
Hell yeah. So y'all don't play, y'all's next game's Saturday. I guess it's kind of worked out, the snow thing with y'all. Y'all got you said y'all have a big road stretch coming up?
Yeah, we got a big road stretch. We got to go to South Texas. We play at Texas Rio Grande Valley on Saturday, and then we play Texas A&M Corpus Christi on Monday. So it's a big road stretch against two of the top teams in our league on the road. So it'll be a big challenge for us.
Well, heck yeah. Well, McNeese State, America's team, baby. Follow McNeese MBB. So much fun. Look, the support you've got is, not just you, but the school, McNeese. It's so, like I said, they bought in. I don't know, you've really just built something that's blown up in South Louisiana and Lake Charles, and it's just so fun to follow with the crowds and the fan base. I don't know. It's cool. I know you've had a winding coaching career, but I feel like you've had these couple of years so far have been great for you in Lake Charles.
Yeah, it's been awesome. After I got fired, you don't ever know what's going to happen, but you want to go somewhere where you can make an impact, and I feel like we've made an impact here in Lake Charles. I feel like our program's made an impact on the community. Our program's made an impact on the school. We're up in enrollment for the first time in a long time. We're up 3% in enrollment. So I feel like, we've been able to make an impact, which has been cool. That didn't mean as much to me early on in my career as it does now, but that part's been cool, and hopefully we can keep it going and cap it off with a great season.
Yeah, I look, the greats are often misunderstood. If you hadn't gotten fired once, what do you sent me? I'll say this: the funniest thing I've never, as I was getting to know you a couple of years ago, I'll share this because it's not bad. But the hardest I've ever laughed in my entire life was when I had a little problem at Barstool, and you sent me a text the night I got let go and said I too was misunderstood, and I have never. I literally was like on the floor, I was like in tears when I got that text.
Look,
from
it worked out for both of us.
There you go, man. It's just a roller coaster. You come up, you go down. We're still here doing the thing. We're both pretty young too. You're my age. You're what, 40, 41?
Yeah, 40. How old am I? 42, I think. Yeah, 42.
Okay, 42. Still got all our best days in front of us. What could be better?
That's right.
Well, thanks, Coach. I just appreciate you joining us this morning. McNeese is America's team. Follow McNeese MBB. Can't wait to see what happens the rest of this year, and hopefully, obviously, everyone hoping for another tournament run. But regardless of that, I don't know how you can do much better than winning all the games y'all play in conference. So certainly pulling for y'all, and just even when I announced I was having you all South, the support you got in Louisiana, man, people still love you. That's for damn sure.
I appreciate you having me on, brother.
Heck yeah. McNeese State coach Will Wade, former LSU and VCU and UT Chattanooga Mocs coach. Thanks for giving us time this morning. Moody, we got you back. We're going to get Moody back. Reminder, everyone, buy the dozen tickets, NOLA, Tuesday, February 4th. Going to be fun. Dave Portnoy, Team ZD, BF Walker, PFT Fran. Also, Will Compton's last appearance as Barstool. Huge news. Will Compton and Bussin announcing they're leaving Barstool yesterday. There kind of been rumors about it for months. Obviously, wish them well. I'm sure they have an enormous opportunity if they're leaving the stool. Everybody loves them. As always, that's the media world, people coming and going. Barstool will continue to crush because they always do. Obviously hired John Gruden and then recently hired Fred Smoot. So, the pro football content will certainly go on. Loved having Coach Wade on. Will Wade, just all-time legend. The American gangster, as people call him, as John Rothstein calls him on Twitter. So much fun to have him on, as always. Some other stuff going on this week. We got a werewolf stream today, right after the Yak. Should be fun. I've never played it. I've got to go do some reading up on that to learn that. as always, our partners at DraftKings, check them out. Getting ready for the conference championships. What a weekend this is going to be. I don't know how we could have a more fun stream than PFT and the Commanders against Max and the Eagles. Sunday, 2 o'clock. The Eagles a 6-point favorite. Can Jaden Daniels get the Commanders to the Super Bowl as a rookie? I mean, I can't even believe we're saying that when you look at the year Jaden Daniels has had, but I wouldn't put it past him. The Eagles are a 6-point favorite, 47.5. And then for the fourth time in 5 years, we got a Bills-Chiefs playoff game. Could Josh Allen finally get him over the hump? KC, 1.5-point favorite, 47.5. Classic NFC Championship, AFC Championship game. So kind of counting down the days, getting ready for the football weekend. Moody, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. It was a great interview with Coach. I mean, Will Wade's the man, to be honest with you. I know, I got like extra respect for Will Wade.
Dude, he's the best.
Hey, sometimes you got to be willing to do what you got to do, baby. And, it's just he's the man. So I like Will Wade.
Oh, I've gotten to know him over the last couple of years. Will's like best friends with Ole Miss's top assistant, Brian Berg, is how I've gotten to know him. Dude, Will's one of my favorite. And he always, I knew a lot of the same people in Baton Rouge as him. He's one of my favorite ever. I mean, it was funny. He was like, "You're bringing up old stuff," when I, water under the bridge. But I will say, the text I got from him the night I got fired from Barstool was, I've never laughed that hard in my entire life, ever. When, I too know what it's like to be misunderstood. Oh my gosh. I remember I was out for Jazz Fest and I was with my friends and I showed my friends. I was like, y'all are never going to believe this text. This is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
You got to have a sense of humor about stuff like that. And I would say that he has handled it very well. And now on the back end of this, he is handling it sensationally, right? He's doing what needs to be done to kind of make people forget about that a little bit. And he's killing it at McNeese. As someone,
the thing is, everything that everything he got in trouble for is legal now,
Yeah, which is the crazy thing about it. So, but at the time it was breaking the rules. I get it. I understand it all. I've called a ton of basketball games in the Southland Conference. I have never seen a team come into that conference and just be the team. And McNeese is without question that. I mean, he is head and shoulders above everybody else. I think he's going to run through the Southland, and I think he's going to be on to bigger and better things before too long.
No, I feel like what it is, it's like the coaching rehab program thing. And you saw it. It kind of reminds me. No, it reminds me of like Bobby Petrino went through it. Hugh Freeze went through it. Like when you get hit with a scandal and you leave, you have to, you saw like Petrino goes to like Western Kentucky before he goes back to Louisville. And then Hugh Freeze went to Liberty before he gets back built up to Auburn. But, if you're an elite coach, you're going to get another shot. But I just think it's so cool for Will that it ended up being at McNeese because Will loved South Louisiana and loved his time at LSU. And so that's like the most seamless transition. I mean, Lake Charles is 2 hours from Baton Rouge. You got a lot of the same fans. I mean, everybody was so pumped to get him in Lake Charles. And I'd be shocked if he does. I can't ask him about that. I'm not going to put him on the spot during the middle of the season. But I felt like a 2-year deal to me, And I know there are a lot of rumors with him after last year when he got him to the tournament. But I feel like he wanted to do. I would guess this. Maybe one more, but I feel like if he wins that conference again, gets him back to the tournament again, kills it for 2 years, he's made for. There's certain coaches that are made for NIL. He's one of them. He'll go. If I was the University of Texas or South Carolina or one of the only couple SEC schools that are struggling this year, I'm going to Will Wade with the bag because he's proven he could win. What he did, it's not like LSU has some like super powerhouse traditional basketball program. And man, he got him to the Sweet 16, even though he didn't get to coach the game. And then, they lost in the round of 32 to Michigan. I don't know. They always had an exciting brand. And the other thing about Will Wade too, I'm sorry I didn't bring this up with him. He sends dudes to the league. He's, Nas Reed and, he had, Cam Thomas, for the Nets. That's the other thing is he goes and gets guys to go to the league. And so I think there's a lot to be said for that. So I can't wait to follow his career, and I'm going to support him wherever he goes. It was funny when he was at LSU. He was just so hated by the rest of the SEC, and I always liked him. And so, like, all the Ole Miss fans would just be, they all hated Will Wade. They're like, how can you like this guy? I was like, y'all just don't know him. He's unreal.
Well, you're also an LSU fan.
Oh,
so,
okay.
I think that's probably part of it.
Okay.
But no, when you're an elite coach, like Will Wade's not just great in the NIL. He is a great player evaluator, and he's great with the X's and O's. Like, he has it all as a head coach. And that's, I mean, he'll be on to bigger and better things. That's no knock on McNeese by any means. But I think everybody kind of understands that.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, all right, looking ahead, a lot of stuff going on, but just touching quick on it. Conference championship weekend, can't freaking wait. Two games. You've been on the Jaden thing. You were on Washington money line. Do you think they can win in Philly?
I'm hot as shit, by the way. I've only had like one losing day in the last 3 weeks. So yeah, I've been pretty much on top of everything here lately. I don't know. I want them to win. My heart will be cheering for them. My head tells me Philly is just too complete, and that Washington will have a tough time stopping Saquon. It just seems like it's the Saquon Barkley show, and we're all just kind of watching it right now. I just think as long as Philly doesn't turn the football over, they play a smart game, they run the ball efficiently, I don't know that Washington is going to have enough to handle maybe the best roster in all of football. Kansas City's right there beside them. If Jalen Hurts plays a solid game, I think Philly wins.
Yeah, I actually think Philly's got a better roster than KC. I think KC has the great defense, but KC has holes on their roster. They just can cover it up because Mahomes can, especially their offensive tackles are miserable. I mean, like their pass blocking is horrendous.
That's the real weakness.
But yeah, no, I would love to see the Commanders make it. I mean, what a story that would be if they got back to the Super Bowl and Jaden went back to Louisiana a year after winning the Heisman to play in the Super Bowl. I kind of think Philly might be a little too much for him. And then the way this game sets up, too, after Jaden, you remember that comeback when they beat him 35-34 to clinch the playoff berth. I mean, obviously Jalen Hurts got hurt in that game, but I feel like what a subplot that is for this conference championship. And I want to mention something, too, that we hadn't talked about. Everybody thought the NFC North was the best division in football, and they just went 0-3 in the playoffs. It was wild. Didn't even win a playoff game when you look at Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay season.
You and I talked about it a few times. We felt like Minnesota was the most fraudulent team that was having a successful season. We just kept expecting them to crash back down to earth. Eventually they did. I'm not super surprised by the Lions thing happening. And I really had high hopes on Green Bay. Obviously, I had a Green Bay Super Bowl ticket, but their O-line just couldn't hold up. And, obviously Christian Watson injury and whatnot, and their defense. When they lost Jair Alexander, that was a huge blow to that team. He's one of the best corners in the NFL. And so, like, each one of those teams had holes that got exposed once they got to the playoffs. The Lions obviously had a ton of players injured defensively as well. So things went wrong at the wrong time for some of the teams that were the best in the NFL, but they did have holes that they got exposed.
Yeah, Ben Johnson getting announced as the new Bears coach. People in Chicago on fire. Looks like Dennis Allen, the old Saints coach, is going to be his defensive coordinator, which is actually a great hire. For as much as I bagged on Dennis Allen as a head coach, he's a badass defensive coordinator. And there's rumors that Darren Rizzi might be their special teams coach, too, as the Saints interim and former special teams coach. But I love that move for the Bears. He's super excited about it. So that's going to be fun to follow. Do you think Ben Johnson made Jared Goff the best of his career? Can you do it with Caleb?
So I have been a Caleb Williams hater all season. Obviously I had some clips from the fantasy football pod that I really liked, and they turned out to be true. But this is the best case scenario for Caleb Williams. The problem is your head coach can't break down defenses for you like real time. So I don't know. I think there's still a lot of work that has to be done with Caleb up here. I just don't think I didn't see anything up here from him this season that made me think he's going to be that guy. But maybe Ben Johnson gets there and takes him to that next level. I'm definitely not saying it's out of the question by any means, but I think it is the perfect hire for Chicago. I think if anybody's going to step in there, I'd say Cliff Kingsbury could probably do it as well. But this is a great hire. Ben Johnson, great hire. What do you think about the Lions fans being mad at Ben Johnson right now for, taking this job 2 days later? I think it's asinine, personally.
I think it's crazy, and let me tell you why it's really crazy. He should have left after last year. He could have taken any job last year, and he gave him a whole nother year, and they had the number one offense in the NFL, and they won 15 games. I mean, they got a whole year on borrowed time with him this year. He should have left last year. He could have had any job. So I don't think you can be mad at him. I mean, everybody dreams of being a head coach. He gets to do it in a big market. Good for him. I mean, I guess they're also kind of mad because he's in their division, but, what are you going to do? I mean, this is a job.
I think it's fun. Adds a little bit to the rivalry there between those two NFC North teams. So like a little bit of extra hatred. It's understandable. It's football. It's fans. They're going to do and say what they want. But I think it's a little absurd because he did a lot for them. I actually think they're going to take a step back next year. We'll see who they end up bringing in to be the OC.
No matter who it is, it's a step back.
Inevitable. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you got to think they'll probably like promote their quarterbacks coach or something to just keep the continuity because the offense is so good, but there's still got to be a step back. And then Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator, interviewed with the Jets yesterday, but he left without the job. A lot of people thought they weren't going to let him out the building. So we'll see what happens there. He's also been rumored for the Saints job, but I think he's going Jets. Are the Cowboys really about to hire Brian Schottenheimer? This can't be real.
It's starting to sound that way.
That's going to be a tough sell.
I was thinking about it more this morning. I just don't care about the Cowboys anymore. I know I've kind of said that I'm getting close to officially not being a Cowboys fan. I think it's happened for me. I don't know, man. The Cowboys, I think until Jerry's gone, you're not going to have the right system in place. And that's just kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, that's wild. I feel like Glenn's probably going to go to the Jets. Ben Johnson went to the Bears. Saints are going to get Mike McCarthy or Joe Brady. It's going to be one or the other. I kind of think it's
a lot of the players are lobbying for Rizzy to return. What do you think about that?
I mean, of course they are. He's like a liked interim coach, and he was a fiery guy. And, he obviously got a lot more out of the team than Dennis Allen did. I thought Rizzy did a fine job as an interim, but, like, I'm always a little, the interim guys, you get that bump where they're fired up to play for him, but I still don't know long term. It's also interesting, like, special teams coaches don't always get head job shots, but then you look at, like, what John Harbaugh did, and he was a special teams coach. A lot of that skill set can work toward a head coach, but I'm just – man, the NFL is an offensive league. I want an offensive guy as my head coach. I'll just say that. And that's why I hadn't been for Aaron. As respect as Aaron Glenn is in the league, I want Joe Brady or McCarthy because I want a dude that can get the most out of the offense, period. And McCarthy, to me, is probably the guy to go with just because you look at his career. I mean, won a Super Bowl, won 11 playoff games, has won all the time. I mean, he's kind of feel like for how good he's been, he's like very not respected. But I think that's probably where I would go. But the Joe Brady thing would be exciting, but it's real boom or bust because he's obviously an amazing offensive coordinator. You look what he did with LSU in 19 and then what he's done with Josh Allen. But he's so young. Like, does he have the ties to put together, like, a good NFL staff? Because that's, like, a huge part of it, like, what are his connections in the league? So that, but either one of those would make me happy. And then other jobs that are out. Jacksonville's been connected to Liam Cohen. I think that would be a good fit for them with what he did at Tampa. I know he's only their OC 1 year, but he's off the McVay tree. I think that would make sense because they got to get somebody to fix Trevor
Liam Cohen re-upped this morning with Tampa Bay. He'll be returning as their OC.
Oh, okay. Well, so Jacksonville's still looking. The Raiders are trying hard for Ben Johnson.
I actually think I wouldn't be surprised if Mike McCarthy now ends up in Jacksonville. That's one that I could actually see happening.
Yeah, that's a real similar hire to Doug Peterson, though.
Yeah, I know, but it kind of fits what they do. I would not be surprised if they didn't if the Cowboys don't bring in McCarthy. The Saints don't bring in McCarthy. I wouldn't be surprised to see him end up in Jacksonville. I think
the job that's tough is I know they have money and they have Tom Brady and stuff, but the Raiders' job is the hardest one because who wants to be in that division? You got Sean Payton, Bo Nix, Harbaugh, Herbert, and Andy Reid and Mahomes. I mean, that to me is the toughest one. I don't know. That's just good. No matter what you do, you're gonna. I mean, what are you trying to win? 8-9 games?
Yeah. No, it's absolutely fair. What do you think about the new hire for the Falcons, Ulbrich, taking over as the DC there?
I didn't say. Oh, the Jets interim got the DC job. Jeff Ulbrich.
Yeah, got the DC job at Atlanta.
I mean, I like the rumors the Cowboys would get Robert Saleh. I like him more. I mean, I thought the Jets defense was way better when Saleh was coaching them. And so I don't know how they'll do for the Falcons. I wouldn't look. And I know you like Penix and a lot of the talent on Atlanta, and I do too. But I don't know. I didn't think Raheem Morris did the best job this year. I know they almost made the playoffs, and a lot of that was Cousins falling off. But, Raheem Morris is allegedly a defensive guy, and their defense sucked down the stretch. I mean, they couldn't stop anybody. And they had a golden opportunity to win that division. And also, I mean, it was a weird deal, but they should have benched Cousins 3 or 4 weeks earlier. and giving it
They
to
should
Penix.
have. I thought I was on note saying that I think they should have stuck with Cousins because I wasn't quite sure about Penix, but after watching him play, brother, he needs to work on some things this offseason. He's got to find some touch. He's got to get more accurate. But you can see that there's a ton of upside. I mean, he's got a laser beam, and he's not afraid to throw into small windows because he can. And he made some elite throws into some small windows. I think the Falcons are going to be in a pretty good spot. I would not be shocked at all if Atlanta wins the South next year.
Just if the defense gets better. I agree.
Defense has got to get better for sure.
Do you have any KC Buffalo? Any early thoughts? The Dave Portnoy stuff with it's so epic.
Yeah, my intuition, like I kind of said this, my intuition is telling me that Buffalo's going to find a way here. But again, it's Kansas City and it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. So like betting against them feels stupid. So it's probably one that I won't necessarily, bet a winner in because I just don't have the strongest of read on it. But man, it should be a hell of a football game. I expect this to be a last second type game, field goal, touchdown. Somebody on the goal line knocking, like it's going to be a hell of a football game.
Yeah, can't wait for that. Once again, mentioned we've got a werewolf stream today after the Yak. Really looking forward to those conference championship games. A lot of fun stuff going on at Barstool as always. And shout out, like I said, the big news was Bussin leaving. Oh, what you got? Got any chat stuff?
Oh well, yeah, we had a funny question over here for us. Do you like mermaids with a human top or a human bottom? I've never seen a mermaid depicted as having a mermaid top.
I'm trying to picture this.
You a tits or an ass guy, Mintzy?
I'd say I'm more of an ass guy, or bottom.
Yeah, I'll always say I'm a face guy. That's
You're a
just me
face guy.
personally. If the face isn't there, none of the rest of it matters to me. So I'm probably gonna have to go with the human top. But that brings a lot of other things into question. So I don't know.
Fair enough. But as always, like I said, still rocking. Thanks to Dude Wipes for sponsoring us. Found Amazon, Walmart, Target, all over the world wide web. One use of Dude Wipes will change your life. Chris Beard rocks the Dude Wipes on the sideline for Ole Miss even. Ole Miss, huge game tonight, playing Texas A&M, battle of top 16 teams. Pavilion going to be rocking. Can't wait to watch that. I'll say it. It's every year. It's kind of like this. We talk about college basketball like it's a seasonal thing. Like you get into it as football ends through March Madness. I've gotten into it a little bit lately. I was watching last night. Obviously I'm into the Ole Miss thing, but I don't know. I'm kind of getting into it a little bit, now that it's this time of year and trying to do some parlays and stuff. I don't know. I'm getting in the spirit of it. It should be fun from now to the tournament. This SEC being so good is really entertaining, to say the least. But yeah, and then
I haven't been. I can't watch the NBA anymore. I've been trying. I've tried to watch.
I
the
don't
NBA.
care. Yeah,
And I'll be watching a game and I'll find myself like just in my phone for 15 minutes without even realizing it. But one thing I have been doing, I've been tailing this girl and this other guy that have been doing first basket bets in the NBA, so I don't have to actually watch the game. But it's been fun. Hit one the other day. It was like, I don't know, 60 to 1 or something. So like I've been putting in some very small first basket NBA bets just for fun, just for a small sweat for me to have. So that's something that I've been enjoying. But man, as far as watching the NBA is concerned, I'm trying. I literally tried like 3 days in a row, and the games. I don't know what happened because I used to love watching basketball growing up, but I can't care, and I don't know if it's the game hasn't changed that drastically. Like I like 3-pointers, like I enjoy seeing people knock down long shots, so I don't understand it. But man, the product in the NBA right now is just. They got to figure something out, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just us as a society. Maybe, the TikTok attention span and everything we can't lock in for long stretches at a time. I don't know. But the NBA for me, man, it's just I don't care.
Yeah, I always have said my stance to the NBA is I just care about the New Orleans Pelicans, and they're winning again, but they're so far buried that it doesn't even matter. They finally got all their guys back, and they won like 4 in a row, and it's like, okay, cool. But they're like 20 under 5, like what you got to lose like 5 or 8 games the rest of the year to get in the play. Dude, it's a nightmare. But I'll tell you
the biggest. I was the biggest Dirk fan my entire life. I love when the Mavs won the championship. It meant so much to me. I loved it. Ever since Dirk is retired, I care. I still want the Mavs to be the team, but like tough to care as much for some reason. Like for me, I guess when Dirk left, that was kind of like the end of the NBA in my eyes.
Well, one thing I know we're going to care about, Moody and I got some fun stuff in the works for college and MLB season. We're really pumped. Moody will say it, and I'll say it too. Nobody knows more baseball at the stool than this guy, and so we're going to flex on that. We're going to do some fun stuff with DraftKings. We're going to get the home run props going, and we're looking forward to cranking that up real big after the Super Bowl. College baseball season starts mid-February, and spring training starts, so we got some ideas.
Yeah, and speaking of the MLB, let's talk the quickest thing here about the Dodgers. They're signing Kirby Yates today. They continue to add to their bullpen. Everybody is hating on the Dodgers so much that they're saying let's not even play the 2025 season. Everybody needs to pump their brakes a little bit on that. It's no guarantee in Major League Baseball that if you have the best, the roster that spends the most money, that you're going to win the World Series. There are injuries that happen. It's a long season. And here's another thing: like when Shohei Ohtani was first trying to get signed, the Blue Jays matched that offer. Ohtani chose the Dodgers. Roki Sasaki, everybody in the league had a chance to sign him. He elected to go to the Dodgers. Like, these guys are choosing the Dodgers. It's not like the Dodgers are out here offering $100 million more for every single player that they are signing. People are choosing the Dodgers because they have put together a winning culture, and that started with the Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman thing. Yes, they're spending more money because they have the TV deal and they feel secure in what their future looks like. So if they hand out a bad contract, they can weather the storm better than other teams. But they are choosing to spend the money. Other teams can be doing that. Right now, Pete Alonso is sitting out there. Alex Bregman is sitting out there. There's no reason that some team can't go drop $60 million per year and go get those two dudes. They're just choosing not to. So I understand why people are upset with the Dodgers, but it is not as much the Dodgers' fault as it is everyone else's. I think that is just a point that needs to be understood. I think that the Dodgers deserve a little hate. They're now the new Yankees. That's cool. That's fine. It's fun for baseball, in my personal opinion. But damn, dude, we gotta kill that narrative just a little bit, because these guys are choosing the Dodgers because they're doing stuff the right way.
That's fair. Well, as always, appreciate Will Wade and the Will Wade Brigade for joining us, and Moody and Stella Blue and Dude Wipes. What is it, like you said, like 12 degrees in Shreveport today?
Yeah, I think it was like 19. The Barksdale bubble protected us. We got no snow, no sleet. They got like 8 inches in Lafayette, like 6 inches in Alexandria, got like just 10. South of us. Which is insane. So, I mean, obviously the cold front went further south than hitting us, but like that's unheard of, by the way, for them to get that much down there. It has absolutely shut everything down. But it's just been cold here in Shreveport, so we're enduring. It was a little cold this morning. I threw my extra jacket on because I was cold. So, but yeah, we'll be fine. It'll thaw out soon, and it'll be 65 degrees here next week, probably.
Hell yeah. Well, all right. Well, thanks as always to Moody, Stella Blue, Dude Wipes, and Will Wade. We'll be back tomorrow, and y'all let's have a day. Join us for the werewolf stream after the act.